Hello everyone, and welcome to the Final Fantasy XV Character Guide. Today, we'll be talking about the Shield of the King, Gladio. On version 1.20 and later, 3 nodes are available for purchase in the Teamwork section of the Ascension Grid that allow you to take control of one of Nox's 3 teammates in battle. This can be done by holding L1 and L2 during a fight. These guides will only cover the characters as they function within the main game. Each of them has some minor mechanics exclusive to their DLCs, which we will not be talking about as they are examples of Final Fantasy XV actually explaining things. Gladio is a very straightforward character to play with the simplest set of mechanics of the 4 party members. If you like the defensive, sword and board playstyle in other games, you'll feel right at home playing Gladio. In general, he's a single target combatant that rushes down one enemy at a time, with additional enemies being collateral damage to his rather large hitboxes. He's effectively no long-range capabilities, no way to quickly move from target to target. Typically, he's also lacking in crowd control, but that's where his techniques pick up the slack. While his attacks have the wide areas of effect and power of, and similarities to Nox's greatsword moveset, Gladio's strength means that he controls a lot more fluidly. The majority of Gladio's attacks are quick and flow into and out of both other attacks and his dodge. In particular, his away attack is good for tacking on an extra hit at the end of a Blitz combo even when you let it rip without time to charge. Just about every attack can be used in place of his standard opener, giving a lot of freedom in how you approach, such as using the long-range dodge attack after knocking an enemy away, avoiding an attack, or just to initiate on a distant target. The core of Gladio's combat style is his rage mechanic and perfect blocking, the equivalent to Nox's blink ability. Whenever Gladio perfect blocks an attack, he gains +1 to his rage, which is the damage multiplier that goes up to 4 times. The multiplier's duration is represented by a circular gauge that ticks down relatively slowly, so as long as you keep an eye on the enemies around you, you should have no trouble keeping the multiplier going with somewhat frequent perfect blocks. In practice, this means that Gladio's damage comes in waves as you smash through enemies where openings arise and the rage mechanic permits, unlike the other characters that can output DPS more consistently. Gladio can interrupt his actions with perfect blocks, but can't block attacks that Noctis can't phase, so knowing when to press the attack and when to wait for a counter is key. This does mean that Gladio suffers against enemies that attack unpredictably, however. Gladio's solo technique gauge fills per enemy hit, meaning that hitting multiple enemies with one attack fills it that much faster. He has access to different techniques depending on how many bars he has filled, but only access to one at a time. Earth Shatter, the 0 bar ability, is complete trash and should be avoided whenever possible. In fact, there's really no use to use it at all, period, since it locks him into an animation for a long time, leaving him vulnerable, does pitiful damage at best, and just generally sucks. The 1 bar ability of Razor's Edge, however, is fantastic for its combination of high speed, great AoE, and good damage, especially considering how frequently it can be used. Like Away Attack, it's particularly good for chaining from the Ender or just when you find yourself in a crowd of enemies. If you haven't completed the DLC episode Gladio, then Tempest is the strongest technique Gladio can use, costing 2 bars and sacrifices some of Razor Edge's speed for extra hits. It's up to you which of these 2 techniques you use, as it's a trade-off of Razor Edge's increased frequency of availability, which I prefer, versus Tempest's increased damage and invincibility. His final ability, Maelstrom, and his follow-up, Duel Master, are incredibly powerful and decimate everything in a massive AoE combo string. It's also completely invincible, so go ham in dangerous situations. Thank you for watching this episode of the Final Fantasy XV Character Guide. I hope you found this video valuable for your journey in Eos, and I hope to see you next time, where we'll learn a whole lot more.